So we are back again. We are continuing our discussion from going from pain to healing and from healing to wholeness. So again we are talking with the same wonderful people here. So please mention your names again.
Dr. Kenya.
Phyllis.
Letitia Johnson.
Linda Jennings.
So you heard previously of what they have gone through, the pain that they had to endure, the suffering. It's not just the suffering, physical and mental abuse, the psychological abuse that they have had, but it's also the internal pain that they had to go through because of their own triggers, because of the outside triggers, and so much pain that has sustained over many years and decades, and in your case 6 decades. It's very sad, but it is time for healing, and healing in this case has started 10 years ago. So let us talk about brokenness to wholeness. So we were talking about what led you to this. Now let us talk about the process that you use to get a person from being broken to being healed to bring hope.
The process is, like I mentioned before, is that I start serving them with tools. When I say tools, spiritual tools, I'm talking about prayer, affirmation, whatever will get their attention. So while I have their attention, to give is serving them from the inside out. It's just that simple. It's that there's nothing hard about it. They do go by a counselor, even though I study counseling, they do go by a counselor. So they won't have to pour all of that trauma off on me. So when they get to me, I can just go to work and they're whole in no time.
According to you, what do you think are the steps that have helped you overcome?
Well, so I call it my triple A method, which is the first step is admitting something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't admit it, then you're always going to be in denial. The second step is asking for help. If I broke my leg today, I would ask somebody to take me to the doctor, or I would tell the doctor something is wrong, and then I would take the action to actually do something about it. So for me, I had gone to a whole bunch of counselors and counseling and everything, and when I met Ms. Snipes, the first thing she did was we would have prayer at 5 a.m. So it becomes, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be healed? And you went to counseling and you went to therapists, and I've been in the psych ward twice. I've gone through the process, but I'm still missing something, and it's the wholeness part which she talks about.
So the first A is accepting,
Admitting that something
and
is
second is asking,
correct.
and the third
It's
is
action.
taking action
Correct.
on things that need to be taken action. So what has your experience been going through the process? What did you learn and how did you overcome?
The first thing that I learned from going from brokenness to wholeness was that I was traumatized, and that it wasn't my fault that I was traumatized. It wasn't my fault that the things that I had endured throughout my life, it was not my fault, and that somebody actually cared about me and the things that I had endured, and that somebody wanted to help me overcome these things, that somebody wanted to walk me step by step along the way to help me accomplish being whole. Not even knowing in the beginning that's what we were about to do. Had no clue. Like I said, we come from associate churches. I go to a church in West Memphis in Arkansas. I go to Straightway, ADT Church in West Memphis. and she's here in the Associate Church here in Memphis, Tennessee. And just one day out of the blue, she called me, checking on me. And I'm like, who is this calling my phone now? And it was her, and she was just so sweet and just calming and relaxing and very inviting. Her voice was always inviting. Her spirit was always inviting. She had this way of you just gravitating towards her, and which made me open and vulnerable enough to want to release those things off of me. Her presence and just her attitude alone made me comfortable enough where I wanted to talk. And by me talking, the more talking I did, the more tears I shed. And I could tell when the more tears that I shed and the more talking that I did, I could feel the release. There was a release that came up off of me. And it was like God was, as he took those things away from me, he started replacing them with other things, good things. And I say all the time, I'm grateful and I'm indebted for that. That's why I'm sitting here at this table today, for that very reason, because she took the time out for me. Somebody cared about me. And that's why I have to give back. I have to show that same love, that same gratitude, and let other people know, hey, you're not alone. There are others like you. Stories may be different, but we have something in common. Abuse, neglect. We all have the same path. Get to wholeness. We want to be whole. We don't want to be sick, walking around every day sick, not knowing that you're sick, trying to have a family, trying to have a career, trying to be a motivational speaker, trying to be a devotional, motivational leader in church, and you're still broken, but you know that something's missing, and you're just trying to put those pieces together. And through From Brokenness to Wholeness, I was able to do that, and I had a strong support system, and she was just the icing on the cake. And I thank God for it being a faith-based and having the mind to want to be a part of something as great as this and give back. Definitely give back. You can't get whole and don't give back. You want to see other people whole. You want to see other people make it, because there are some people out here that don't know that they're sick. They don't know what's going on with them.
If you cannot give back, then you're never whole. Right? Until and unless you give back, there is that circle doesn't complete. What for you were the things that have kept, and how long has it been that you have associated with Brokenness to Wholeness?
Brokenness to Wholeness, 10 years.
10 years.
She called me on the phone one night and told me, she said, Linda, she said, I know how to get you whole. I said, huh? She said, I know how to get you whole. I know how to get all of that stuff inside of you out of you. I said, okay. But I didn't believe her. I didn't believe her. She said, well, come to my meeting. Just come to a meeting. So I'm like, okay. The next morning I got up that Saturday, put on my clothes, still not believing that anything gonna happen. And went to her meeting. And she just kept telling me, you don't have to speak. You don't have to say nothing. Just sit here and listen. You don't have to say a word. And so I just sit there and listen. So I went back a second time to one of her meetings. And this time I got up and I told my story. And when I told my story, it was like, whoosh, something just lifted up off of me. And then that night I had a dream. And in the dream, I pulled up a plant. And this plant that I pulled up, it was pulled up from the root. You could see where it was white at when it come out. Thank you, Jesus. When it come out of the ground, I seen it. It was completely white. And I knew then that I was completely, thank you, Jesus, completely whole.
Wow.
So what are the steps that you employ to make somebody whole?
As I said earlier, the conversations that we have. See, this comes from the inside of me. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And they could receive it because of what the mission said. Faith-based. Faith-based. They had the level of faith in them for this.
Already
The
there.
level, because they didn't know what they were doing in the man. They had that level. Now, some people don't have the level of faith for holiness. So I have something for them. I tell them, I'm going to believe with you until you can believe. I'm going to have faith for you until your faith grows. Now, when your faith goes, because this level, this holiness is up here. To buy a car, because you don't have enough money and don't have good references, that's a different type of faith.
So did you have people who were not at that level at all?
I have had.
And so I'm asking like multiple questions. So there were some people who did not have faith.
Enough.
Faith not only in a faith-based thing, but faith in the system. Okay, that's one thing. Then some had faith, but not enough. These never came from section 1. Some came, some didn't. In this case, some came, some didn't. And the ones who had faith, how many of those have retained and have been whole?
When they didn't have enough faith, and I knew it wasn't enough, I kept them with me. I just kept serving them.
All right.
I didn't tell them they didn't have enough. I just kept serving them because I knew how the gift worked. I knew the gift was going to work in my words, in my tongue. So I just kept working with them. I didn't turn them loose and say, go get just a book of faith. You can get some at Walmart. I did not do that. I kept working with them.
Okay.
Because when I'm working with you, sweetheart, it sounds like just a conversation. Just like I'm talking now. Whether you believe
So
it or not.
they do not know,
Watch this right here. Whether you believe it or not, the gift is working in here.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
right.
Correct. For example, when she came, you told her so many times, you don't have to speak, you don't have to.
That's right.
And then next time, she wanted to,
Right.
all by herself.
Right.
So the fact is that the way you were is first, you mentally welcome them. And even, it is not just mental, but she was very open in telling you and made you feel so good about it. That you felt that she was caring, she really meant it, what she was saying. That you realized that there was something that she wanted to do for you, that somebody cared for you, and you have family, you have a structure, infrastructure for you, but there was something more that was coming from outside that was pulling you to make yourself much better than what you were.
I always said that. I said my parents prayed so much for me that they prayed up from brokenness to wholeness. That's what I used to say all the time. Because I was a diamond in a rough.
She was sick.
I was a mess.
She was sick.
I was
sick.
I was very sick. I was not well at all. I was angry. I was sick and angry. That's a horrible conversation when you come when somebody's sick and not knowing and angry at the same time.
Both of you are using the word was. She was. You were
I
not.
was.
Right. But now the question is, are you not sick anymore?
I didn't mean to laugh. No, I'm not.
Very good. So which means, so then that is a rhetorical question. That's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
And the fact is, which means that you are healed. And not only are you just healed, you are whole.
I'm trying to stay in my seat. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
All right. So, is this your joy pouring out?
It
Your
is.
happiness?
I'm very happy. In the beginning, I was the crybaby. She said I would talk so much that I could fill up a pod or a big dumpster outside. And I shed a lot of tears, so now I laugh, I'm happy because I'm whole. And those things no longer have dominion over me.
No.
They don't control me anymore. It's the anointing that breaks the yoke, and now I'm happy and I'm whole. Now I'm just grateful. So it's a laughter of wholeness. You know, I can say so much. I think Miss Snipes want to say something. I'm gonna let her say it.
People doesn't understand the deadness of rape.
Repeat that.
People doesn't understand the DEABLIEST of rape.
Okay.
They take rape lightly.
The
They don't
victims
believe-
themselves.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they take it lightly. When I first started in here, in this organization, I said, rape leave people the walking dead. They actually die. But they exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
They just going on because they don't know what to do. It's dead. Let me say this to you, sweetheart. One of my clients was 95 years old when she came to me.
Wow.
I'm not through with you. She said her biological father violated her at the age of 5. Are you with me? Wipe this up here. She said she thinks she cried every day for 90 years when she got up in the morning time because that's all she could do. Give my information back, please.
Mm-hmm.
But her granddaughter told her about Brokenness to Wholeness. And she already knew me. She was one of the mothers at the church. She already knew me. So she reached out to me and told me the story. The only thing I did was open my mouth for 2 months because we was going to take her to counseling because I don't have a degree in counseling. We was going to take her to counseling. Before we got ready to, well, it was her that wasn't ready to take her to counseling. She called me on a Saturday morning. I was sitting in my recliner, about 9 o'clock. I don't work on Saturday, but I would work with her because she's a senior citizen. And asked me to say hello. And she said, Sister Thelma, that's what she called me, Sister. I said, yes, ma'am. I heard a voice, but I didn't know what. I still couldn't figure it out. She said, and this is the way she talked. She said, the Lord is done made me whole. She said, I don't have those old thoughts no more. I hit the floor. I slid out the recliner and hit the floor crying, and I'm not nobody's crybaby. I cried all day. I cried so hard until I got up, she was crying. She said, I feel like ain't nothing ever happened to me in my life. I don't cry no more. She said, when I grew up and got married, I had 17, I was pregnant 17 times. She said, I only could pray for 10. I lost the other 7. Because when you touch a child that age, you mess up the reproduction organ. She passed away 2 years later at 97 years old, whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what has your experience been going through this? And I ask that because you have a PhD. Was your PhD, or did you think that you need to pursue PhD because you were associated with this, or you did it before and then you got in touch with Wholeness? And how did it work for you? How did it happen for you?
I wanted to provide something that I didn't have originally because I went to counseling and a lot of counseling. And when and in fairness to my counselors and therapists and counselors and therapists that everybody go to, if you walk in and you're suicidal, they need to deal with the suicide. They need to deal with the thought. They need to deal with what you're dealing with right now. Most of the time, there is no time like she has to deal with the root of it.
That's right.
So it's also, I wanted something different in the field. I didn't want to do it like, I felt like my counselor listened because they were getting paid to. She wasn't getting paid to listen. She didn't have to do anything, and she genuinely cared with no reward. Whereas if you walk into an office, you're going to do it because it's your job. So I wanted to bring that to the field of counseling as a whole. I wanted to be what I didn't have. And you only have 30 minutes or you have an hour, depending on the session. You don't have time to deal with childhood trauma when you were 3 and you're suicidal at 60. I need to deal with 60. I don't have time to deal with 3. And she taught me you can do both. You can do both. So I wanted to have the education behind it and then the coaching aspect of it. So for me, it was I wanted to be whole in every area. So this made me academically whole. So wholeness just doesn't come from just the wholeness part of the abuse. Like she just teaches just wholeness as a whole. It is our portion. We're entitled to being whole everywhere. So that's why I wanted to go that route.
So there is a test called as a Brigg-Myers personality test. It asks you questions, okay, and no answer is right or wrong. There will be like maybe 100 questions, and then say, oh, do you like this? Do you like chocolate? Or do you like this? Whom do you like? Whom are your friends? What do you dislike? And so many different things. And based on that personality test, then a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a counselor can come to a fairly good decision as to what kind of personality trait that person has. When you go to psychiatrists and counselors and psychiatrists, many times they listen, they get paid, right? Their idea is, oh, how does it make you feel? Is that typical question, right?
Yes.
And then they listen to, okay, this is what she has gone through. This is what she has gone through. This is what he has gone through. And then they really listen. And then they tell. The analysis of the facts, of the factual analysis, is based on not just listening to just that person. You being a PhD, this goes more to you, that because you are going to give back, and because you are going to give back in a leadership position, because you are going to love back to the community. My requests to all of you are that don't just listen to the person, also listen to the family members, also listen to the support system. You are fortunate enough to have support system. You did not. You were questioned even when you said, I have gone through this. So don't just listen to one single person. The idea is to listen also to other people. Get the facts, because when it comes from one person, those are not 100% fact. You know, they say there are 3 truths: his truth, her truth, and the real truth. Right? So we as individuals have to find what the real truth is. And what I believe is what you are giving is based on that, and that is why we have these success stories. So I really do want to thank you for the service that you are providing to everybody. You are here. You have gone through some things just because he wanted you to go through it, so that you could feel the pain, so that you can feel the pain that others have gone through or might have gone through, and then offer his blessings onto others. And each and every one of you have had that within you. The fact is that that balm of blessing had to be kept over you. through one individual person to really come to you. That seed had to be sprouted from one individual person, and there were thousands, not maybe thousands, but tens of therapists that could have done. Family members, good, strong support system, but that it factor was missing. And that divine light comes from above. It comes from one person and then it spreads on to others. So what wholeness is not very easy to define. But when you achieve that,
Yes.
you say, oh, I have received that wholeness, but let me get more wholeness by doing a PhD. Let me get more wholeness by doing something wonderful, by giving back, by talking to other people who are in that situation, who are distressed, who are stressed. There are internal and external triggers for each and every single person that has gone through all of these. So now I would like to ask you all is that what going forward, how can you exude this wholeness? So let me start with you. What more can you do to make the wholeness even bigger?
Yes.
Talk to people, tell them about what I've been through, and find out what they've been through. Because a lot of people is just like I was, refuse to talk about it. And when I went to Sister's Night, it was like God was telling me, go anyway. Just go anyway. But I didn't believe her because I knew God. So I didn't believe her. But the Lord proved it to me. Proved to me that she was what she said she was, that she could help people get home. So I go out and I talk to people. Some people come to me. The Lord told me that I would send people to you. So
How nice.
some people comes to me and they tell me what had happened to them, and I try to help them and try to tell them about from brokenness to wholeness. But a lot of them is not at the point yet where they really is tired of themselves and tired of going through all the things they've been through. Not tired of crying. They ain't tired yet. When they get tired, they'll listen. And then they'll go to her. Because they know that I'm whole now. Because I don't cry no more. I sing.
Oh, how wonderful.
And it's just, I'm a totally different person.
Very nice.
Totally different.
Very good. Very good. Tisha?
I almost forgot what I was going to be talking about. I guess I went to
How will you take this wholeness forward?
giving back. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. Being on other platforms, setting up, following in her footsteps, creating my own footsteps, being that beacon of light for other people. I want to tell my success story on a totally different platform, more detailed, more in depth, to let people know that, look, I went through some pretty gruesome things, but guess what? I was able to come out of them and come out victorious. And just because you have people out here that they can't see no way out of no way. They can't even begin to fathom the thought of even getting out of a situation. And I want to be able to allow people to see me at a vulnerable state, but like I said, on a different platform where they get to see the rawness, get to see that this person went through and yet came out. Like we had the diamond in the rough. If walls could talk, all these things are a part of From Brokenness to Wholeness. And I just want to continue to just share that love and that light and be that success story that I am, but share it with the world.
Perfect. So now we talked about your PhD. You wanted to get more whole, so to say, for a lack of a right word. But which means that you have taken it upon yourself and more responsibility that you now have a PhD to do a whole lot more. So how are you going to fulfill that?
Well, for me, just following in her footsteps, but just from a different perspective, I started SIS, which is Synergy and Sisterhood, and it's a platform for women to be able to come and talk, and my whole thing is healing the little girl within. So if you heal the little girl within, and what she has absolutely taught us, if you treat the root, you can enjoy the fruit.
It's beautiful. And now to you. How? Because what you have done is not enough. You have done a whole lot. But what you have done, there's a whole lot more to do. There's a whole lot of people and women that you need to reach out to. How are you going to make it happen? How are you going to reach out to multiple people to make this a bigger, even bigger success than what it is?
There it is right there. There it is right there. Awareness. There it is right there. Every day I'm out of the house. I'm out of my house. I'm serving every day. I'm serving the people at McDonald's when I stop and get my breakfast. I'm serving them because I can look at them and tell if they are a victim or not. Every day, I'm always on social media. We have podcasts. We have a radio broadcast. We're getting ready to do some more things. I'm doing it. And the thing, when I first started, and sometime now, when I first started, the people that wouldn't get up, I went to pick them up. I went to pick them up, took them to counseling, go through the session with me, stop and get them a sandwich if they want to. I had to hold their hand. I had to hold their hand and keep up with them so they wouldn't fall off. That's the way I got a lot of people when I first started. It's an everyday work in doing, into helping people. You got to do something every day to help people.
Indeed. And I know that your outreach has been really good and very impactful. That is more important.
Yes.
And I see that it will be even more. And I also take this upon myself to make it even more successful. So not only do I wish you all the best, I always say that I don't talk the talk, I walk the walk as well.
Can I put in one thing?
Yes, please.
We're already known in 41 cities.
Only 41 cities. Okay.
41
All right.
cities
Okay.
and
Okay.
32 states. Even in Africa, Nigeria, even in the Philippines now, even in Greece, they know about Brokenness.
Wow. Okay. Very good. Very nice. So, with that, let us come to an end, and not only wish these wonderful people the best, but let us be a part of it. Let us promote this positivity unto others. I always say, I promote positivity through the promotion of love, peace, and harmony. Let us join hands, because until and unless we join hands in helping others, we are not going to help ourselves. And trust me, when you give, you receive tenfold. So give love, give peace, make harmony with everything that you do. And not only wish these wonderful people the best of luck, but be a part of this process. Thank you very much. And thank you, all of you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.